Amy, let me tell you about a magical place that is so exactly designed to be enclosed space, year-round fun for the whole family that I bet you already know what I'm going to say before I even say the name. Let's say it together on 3. 1, 2, 3. Great Wolf Lodge. You got it, Amy.
My kids loved Great Wolf Lodge when we went. You probably already know that it has a huge indoor water park with a wave pool, lazy river, a bunch of massive water slides. But then your pack can hit the other attractions because, wait, there's more.
Great Wolf Lodge has adventure-packed attractions like Magi Quest, a live-action game kids can play throughout the lodge, plus the Northern Lights Arcade. Spent some quality time there, so your kid who loves the lazy river and your kid who loves fantasy games will both have a great time.
Great Wolf Lodge also offers great dining options and complimentary daily events like nightly dance parties, all under one roof. Unpack the car once and you're settled in to have fun. And with 22 lodges across the country, you're always a short drive away from adventure.
We've both had such great times at Great Wolf Lodge, so bring your pack together at a lodge near you. Learn more at greatwolf.com and strengthen the pack. Gentle parenting is like communism, Amy. The idea is kind of solid, but in practice, it gets really messed up.
What fresh hell?
Laughing in the face of motherhood.
Kids are not wired to control themselves, and we are.
With Margaret Abels
and Amy Wilson.
Whenever you parent in public, people are going to have a lot to say about how you're doing it.
A podcast that solves today's parenting dilemmas
so you don't have to.
It is an impossible situation to set yourself up for that you will never feel frustrated.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to What Fresh Hell, Laughing in the Face of Motherhood. This is Margaret.
And this is Amy. Today, we're going to talk about gentle parenting. What it is, what it isn't, what's good about it, what's hard about it.
The kids today and their gentle parenting, Amy. That's where I start. And it was a term I heard after my kids were pretty well baked. So, I'm sort of like, oops, I missed gentle parenting.
For sure. It actually, as I always like to do, go all the way back to the beginning, right? Like, what is it actually before we decide if we like it, don't like it?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go back to what it actually is. So you're correct. It was 2016 when a British mom of 4 named Sarah Ockwell Smith released a book called The Gentle Parenting Book. So 2016 is the first time it was a thing. I mean, certainly people have tried to be extra attuned to their kids' needs before, but that was the first time this gentle parenting thing was raised.
That's right. I had my last in 2012, and I think so that this is right. And I think that before this, did we maybe call this attachment parenting? Like, I definitely remember Mayim Bialik, who was the star of Blossom and Big Bang Theory, talking about, like, she doesn't make her kids say please and thank you. And it seemed maybe gentle adjacent.
Attachment parenting is actually like wearing your baby and co-sleeping and never being apart from them. Literally attached. And that was a thing when my oldest was little. So yeah, this is maybe an outgrowth of it, but it's not exactly the same thing.
Got it. Okay.
And what's interesting is that I think, to give away a little bit of what we're going to talk about, I think it's kind of come to mean whatever you want it to mean. And that's become maybe a little problematic.
Yeah, I mean, I mostly know about gentle parenting through the meme of like the girl whose kid throws a fork in someone's eye and she's like, Denver, we don't do, that's a wrong choice. And
right. Social media has shaped what gentle parenting is and then the backlash to it as well. So let's go back to what Sarah Ockwell Smith, who is not a parenting expert other than the ways that you and I are parenting experts. Right. Like, she lived it.
Having kids.
Yeah, she got the 4 kids.
Lived experience.
And she says that gentle parenting is a way of being and a mindset that has an emphasis on your child's feelings. So pretty vague. And she also actually says in the book that there are no hard and fast rules with gentle parenting. So she kind of opened the door for...
Okay, this leaves it open for the parodies, right?
Right, exactly. It's a mood. It's a mood that means you're attuned to your kid's feelings.
Yeah, we'll know it when we see it, kind of, is the definition.
So psychologist Dan Peters, he is a gentle parenting proponent as well. So his definition is a little bit maybe more detailed.
Okay.
So he says, gentle parenting is a form of positive parenting, whatever positive parenting means. Sounds good.
Okay, we skipped that episode.
Yeah. That emphasizes understanding a child's behavior through empathy and respect.
Sounds good. Sounds okay.
Giving choices to your kid versus commands.
This one I've definitely heard of.
I've heard of that before.
Do you want me to do it or should you do it yourself? And those are the only two options.
Yeah, I think motivated mostly, in my case, by like, do you want to use a blue toothbrush or the red toothbrush? It's like, here's how to get your kid to just move through the steps of bedtime a little bit sooner. Make them feel like they have a choice even though they don't.
Right. I think that's right. It's a little bit of a Jedi mind trick. It's not exactly like a complete new way of seeing things, at least the way that we're doing it. Right.
Right. Exactly. Ours was sort of make them think they have a choice. And this is maybe really engaging with their choices. And the last part. So it's emphasizing understanding their behavior, choices versus commands, and responding in a way that considers a child's intellectual and developmental levels. That sounds like something everybody should be doing at all times, right?
Yeah, I mean, nothing I'm hearing do I think this is ridiculous. Why would you ever do this? I mean, it makes sense.
It makes sense in its most gentle, broad definition. So when a kid is being challenging, if you're a gentle parent, you're acknowledging their feelings and their motivations behind it, and you don't correct the behavior. So instead, here's an example. Instead of issuing a command like put on your shoes, the parent might say, oh, what's up, honey? You don't want to put your shoes on, and sit with them while they don't want to put on their shoes.
Yeah, that's getting a little into the tweet territory for me, but we'll see how it plays out. I definitely think that blind authority, which can sort of be my fallback position as a parent, I see the negatives of it for sure. It's because I said so, and I just become kind of this screaming, scary force that must be obeyed, and that the kids don't feel like they have agency. I mean, I see the myriad of ways that's a problem.
Yeah. So that's one of the no-nos, because I said so. That is not allowed with gentle parenting. It's kind of easier to define what it isn't, right? So gentle parenting, it's not because I said so. It's not timeouts or threats or punishments. That's not a gentle parenting approach. But neither, I thought this was interesting, neither is it sticker charts and you'll have ice cream if you sit nice during your brother's violin lesson.
Not bribes.
It's not bribes. It's not stickers.
You're taking all the tools out of my toolkits here.
It's not, you have 2 flags next to your name, whatever. It's also, you can't say good job is not okay, even if you corroborate why the job is good, because I guess it's conditioned that makes it about pleasing the parent.
Right.
And this is the moment where, again, we're going to memes from social media, like, you must feel so proud of yourself. I just saw one where the joke was like, I'm trying to come up with how not to say good job about this scribble drawing I'm being handed by a 3-year-old. You're supposed to say other things. I'm a little stuck on why you don't just say good job.
Well,
like why that's so bad, but I haven't read the Gentle Parenting book, I must say.
This reminds me of an older relative somewhere in my family who would say all the time about someone else in the family, they never hit their kids and their kids are fantastic. Like this wondrous idea that you could have well-behaved kids without ever hitting them. And that would make me laugh. It's like, right, of course not. Like you don't have to hit kids to get them to do what you want. But from this much older person's perspective, that was kind of a wondrous accomplishment. Like, oh, you use this form of discipline that is not based on any physical violence and you got great results. That seems mysterious to me. And I think for our generation, looking at gentle parenting feels maybe a little bit like that. Like, oh, we're going to do how we feel about putting on our shoes 10 times a day? Like, that seems ridiculous. And so I think that to discuss it, you kind of have to take out of the equation the parody version of it, which is, oh my gosh, stop talking about your feelings and get your kid to stop kicking me on the airline seat.
We're starting with where the actual motivation is, right? And then maybe get to like how it goes awry, which I don't think is the fault of the author of the Gentle Parenting book. I think everybody's projected onto it what they think it is. And as usual, that's where the problems start.
Yeah, and you have to take out some of your own ideas about the quote unquote right way to parent in order to take the conversation seriously. Because some of this is already resonating with things that we've talked about, that behavior is communication. And so the idea is what is my child trying to communicate with their behavior? If you can understand that, you're not going to have the same conversation 4,000 times. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. What is causing you to do that? Like the example of after school restraint collapse that we've talked about. Oh, I'm noticing that every time my kid gets off the school bus, they're a nightmare for an hour. And rather than just saying, stop whining, stop crying, stop complaining, that you're kind of getting underneath it and saying, oh, you're hungry and tired and you need a full hour to just eat and decompress before you're going to get out of red brain when you get home from school. That sounds really smart to me.
That's very gentle parenting, right? So let's talk about why you do it this way. What's the point of doing it this way? The argument of gentle parenting is kids don't ever defy just to be defiant. Let's put a pin in that because I'm not sure I totally agree with that.
I was going to say, not facts already in evidence, as they say in court. Like, I'm not totally signing on to that, but okay.
Right. Let's say that that's what's being put forward, that it's always a response to stress, challenging behavior. Now, of course, in this case, like the after-school restraint collapse that you were talking about, like, yeah, your kid's in red brain because they're hungry, which is physiological stress, or they really have to go to the bathroom and they're 5, so they don't always realize that they have to go to the bathroom. Instead, they start acting like an unchained beast, and it's because they really need to go pee. So that's always what's underpinning it, is the gentle parenting idea. And kids are not wired to control themselves. And we are. We are wired to keep our act together at all times. I mean, I guess that we can do it.
Well, definitely I heard that term developmentally appropriate, and that seems very important. Are you developmentally ready to... It definitely seems like your phase of development is going to be an important part of this conversation.
Right. When your toddler is melting down because they didn't want you to put the syrup on the waffle, they wanted the syrup on the side so they could dip the waffle. And that's something that they're just falling to pieces over. It's because that's developmentally appropriate. That's a big emotion for a 20-month-old to express, and you are going to lend them your empathy and your equanimity, and you're going to acknowledge their big feelings and help them feel them, right? The other thing that I forgot to say about the no and gentle parenting is don't cry, you're fine. Like when a kid falls and hurts themselves and is boo-hooing about their boo-boo on their knee, you don't shut it down. You let them cry. You let them express their feelings. You reassure them, but you don't shut it down.
There's a part of that makes sense to me. And I think that denying any emotion is a huge problem and can get kind of gendered, I think. Like boys are not allowed to express their emotions. Girls are. I think there's a lot of areas where that resonates with me.
Yeah. So eventually, if you're gentle parenting well, the theory goes that you are raising a child who will learn to recognize and control her emotions and to honor her emotions, but be able to control them because the caregiver has raised this child affirming her emotions as real and important. It makes me think Lisa D'Amour says that mental health is not always being in a good mood. It's like having the right mood at the right time. And so I guess this is what it is about. Like your kid is going to be like, that hurt and I'm a little teary, or like I'm lonely and I'm a little sad about that right now. And you can recognize and move through your own emotions because nobody's put guardrails around them.
Yeah, certainly. And if you're raised to think that the most important thing is looking like nothing bothers you, that's going to pay off poorly probably in the long run. That like pretending that nothing is wrong, never expressing emotion, I can definitely see where the negatives exist there.
There used to be this parenting book called The Happiest Toddler on the Block by Jonathan Karp. I loved that book, and it's sort of a version of this, although it was 20 years ago. He talked about how toddlers are like cavemen, and so when they're melting down about the waffle with the syrup on it and the syrup should be next to it, you literally get down to their level like, oh, you're so mad. Bobby's saying, I don't want syrup on waffle, want next to waffle. I feel so mad. And then if you reflect it to them, and I did find it with my kids, that if you reflected those emotions back to them in language that was slightly better than their ability to communicate, they would usually stop and blink and look at me through their tears like, that's it. That is what I was trying to say.
You get me, lady. You really get me.
Yeah, and then you could redirect.
All right, well, we've gotten a lot of the agrees with gentle parenting so far, but let's talk about it a little bit more after the break.
Hellions, it's time for some spring cleaning, and I don't just mean the coat closets. Doing your financial spring cleaning can actually be super easy when you let Monarch do your financial spring cleaning for you. One dashboard that gets your entire financial life organized. No more clutter, no more mess, no more logins scattered everywhere, just accounts, investments, property, and more, all in one place. Get your first year of Monarch for half off, just $50 with promo code FRESH. Monarch allows you to look not only at what you've already spent, but also to plan for the future. With Monarch, you can set savings goals, plan for big purchases, and notice spending trends before they become a problem. I can generate cash flow reports that show me what we spent this quarter, this month, what we're probably going to spend next month, and feel prepared, organized, and knowing how to plan for the future. No more surprises and a lot more clarity. Try Monarch. Use code FRESH at monarch.com to get your first year half off at just $50. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code FRESH. All my kids learned to swim when they were little. It was super important to me that they be confident and safe in the water. There was only one problem with that: taking them to swim lessons. I mean, the pools were freezing. There were always cranky adults doing laps right there. And it was definitely not, for any of us, what you would call fun.
Amy, heard. But now there's Goldfish Swim School. Goldfish takes a really thoughtful approach to swim lessons, combining research-based teaching with a warm, kid-friendly environment that actually helps kids thrive in the water.
Every detail at Goldfish is thoughtfully designed to create a golden experience, from shiver-free, warm indoor pools to comfy waiting areas for parents to professionally trained lifeguards on deck.
Goldfish uses an approach called the science of swim play, which combines guided play with proven teaching techniques to help kids learn to swim, build water safety skills, and gain confidence, all at their own pace. Lessons are designed to meet kids exactly where they're at.
If you've been thinking about swim lessons or just wondering where to start, this is a great opportunity. Right now, Goldfish Swim School is offering a waived membership plus your child's first lesson free at participating locations.
Just visit goldfishswimschool.com/free to find a location near you and enroll using promo code FREE.
That's goldfishswimschool.com/free, promo code FREE.
Amy, when I'm having a good hair day, it usually makes my whole day better. And that's why on every day, I'm taking Nutrafol.
Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand, and it's the #1 hair growth supplement brand personally used by dermatologists. Nutrafol's hair growth supplements are peer-reviewed, NSF certified for sport, and clinically tested.
Nutrafol offers multiple formulas for men and women, tailored to different life stages and lifestyle factors, so you get support that's actually right for you. Adding Nutrafol to your daily routine is easy. Order online, no prescription needed, with automated deliveries and free shipping to keep you on track.
Let your hair be one less thing to worry about. See visibly thicker, stronger, faster-growing hair in 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol.
For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you visit Nutrafol.com and enter promo code LAUGHING.
That's Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code LAUGHING. Okay, so here's where gentle parenting has perhaps gotten complicated.
Yes.
Social media. Social media ruins everything, has ruined gentle parenting. Because it means whatever people want it to mean. Jessica Gross for the New York Times, I loved this quote. She said that gentle parenting has become an open source melange, interpreted and remixed. And it has 3 billion TikTok views, #gentle parenting. So it's being discussed.
I also think that I feel like we hear a lot from people that we and the generation after us are kind of doing a lot of pattern breaking in terms of, there has been a real shift in parenting from 100 years ago. It was like, have children, work, farm, try to stay alive, to that there is a lot of slack in the rope now. Like, okay, well, what is parenting when it's not just producing workers for the farm, And maybe parents of the 50s, 60s, 70s were more in that my way or the highway, I am the authority, and trying to figure out how to change that, and that it comes off as very tweet to people. Like everybody gets a trophy and everybody's voice is respected and everybody gets to cry for 10 minutes about their boo-boos. And that can feel a little bit indulgent.
Right. But I'm not even talking about, I mean, there's certainly a backlash on social media, right? There's certainly like, oh, this is annoying and these people are annoying and these kids are annoying. But there's also gentle parenting, positive content on social media that is also problematic, because going back to Sarah Ockwell Smith saying gentle parenting is sort of a mood that doesn't really have rules. Like, okay, on social media, gentle parenting has rules. So the pro gentle parenting content creators have tons of rules, tons of do's and don'ts, tons of checklists, and the expectations become way higher. I'm going to quote Sarah Shemkis. She just wrote an article for the Boston Globe, very funny, about the sort of limits of trying this approach. And she talks about how social media is the problem, because on there she says tiny details come in for critique, from how loudly you can say ouch if your child pulls your hair to whether it is acceptable to use the phrase good job as praise, lest your child become a praise junkie. It can, say parents, create an unrelenting pressure to get every word choice precisely right.
Yeah, I mean, this is the demon of social media, whether you're like, I'm a crunchy mom. Well, you're not really a crunchy mom because you took an aspirin or whatever, to every celebrity who's had like your child isn't buckled in the car seat correctly and, you know, you're carrying that baby wrong. And that whenever you parent in public, people are going to have a lot to say about how you're doing it.
Yes, there will be both somebody there to say that you're annoying and you're not doing it right because you're doing it at all. And then there's somebody else there saying you're not doing it enough, that you're not being
gentle enough, that every word, there's sort of a way to optimize each interaction with your child. I mean, I think I felt this way when my kids were little, that I needed to make every day special and every moment precious. And this is more like make every interaction gentle, right? And never say anything you're not supposed to say, which can become sliced so thin as to be see-through. It's impossible. Yeah, absolutely impossible.
So there's this psychologist named Annie Pizzella, who's also a mother, and she noticed this. And she underlined that despite gentle parenting and its popularity on social media and whatever, it's not actually born of scholarship. I'm quoting here. She says, there has been no empirical research about what gentle parenting actually means among those who endorse this approach. And equally important, no pointed inquiries to consider whether gentle parents are faring any better than the rest of us, let alone whether the kids are doing any better. If it's 2016, we don't even have 10 years of longitudinal data to see.
Is this working? Is this a good idea?
Right. Are they astronauts? Right. So let's start with is it a good idea for the parents? So there were no studies. So she did a study. She and another psychologist mom named Alice Davidson, in 2023, they did a study of 100 parents that each had a kid between the ages of 2 and 7, which is definitely the prime gentle parenting age, right? Our kids are baked too much to be.
Yeah, we missed it. Sorry, kids.
You know, I'm not going to say good job. Right. So these parents, kids are between 2 and 7, asked the parents how they were reared by their own parents.
Okay.
How they behave when their child misbehaves. And then, do you consider yourself a gentle parent? And about half of the parents in the study self-identified as gentle. So about half the parents. And
they should have asked the kids, but okay, keep going.
And keep in mind, Annie Pizzella says herself, this is a small study. This was 100 parents. And the number one conclusion of the study is there needs to be more studies. But anyway, so out of these 100 people, about 50 sets of parents self-identified as gentle. And among those gentle parents, they believed they were doing a good job. They had high levels of satisfaction in their parenting and self-efficacy. They also, as you were saying, tended to report being motivated by doing things very differently from their parents. Like the more gentle they were, the more likely they were to say that this was in reaction to the way they were raised.
Yes.
They were also more well-versed in parenting literature.
Not surprising.
And I'm sure podcasts like this one, than the parents who didn't identify as gentle. Like they think about it. They have the time, the bandwidth, and they're thinking about it and they're reading the books and their approach is not casual or haphazard. But two troubling themes, I'm using the researchers' words here, troubling themes emerged by surprise while they were talking to these gentle parents. Among the parents who identified as gentle, none of them talked about support that they were getting from their mom, from friends, from the community. They were more likely to talk about doing it themselves. And it seemed implicit that they did do it themselves without a lot of outside support.
We should put a pin in that. I want to come back to it.
Yeah. Many of them also made unsolicited comments about their burnout and exhaustion. That along the way, they'd say things like, I'm hanging on for dear life, or I have no idea what I'm doing. And they were, in fact, more likely to express complete burnout and exhaustion than the parents who weren't expressing any particular affinity with gentle parenting.
Yeah, that makes sense. And one of the things, I mean, you don't know whether or not that lack of help from family is because their own parents were very ungentle and they're trying to really break a cycle and be like, I don't really want my mom who yells all the time to yell at my kid like she yelled at me. Like, that's a fair point. There's also, I think, this illusion of control around this a little bit, that you can really determine outcomes by a very specific style of parenting, and that if anyone else gets involved, they're going to ruin that. And I push back against that. We were just talking about my daughter going on a trip with her aunt and figuring out those different dynamics. My sister-in-law is very different from me. And I think that my daughter's ability to navigate different grown-ups is very, very useful. But I mean, neither one of my sister-in-law or myself would be probably considered a gentle parent. But I think that where this becomes a mindset and a worldview that excludes anything else, that worries me for people. It just feels like you're not going to be able to get help. And there may be a few people in your life who you say, I don't want these people around my child. They're toxic, they're abusive, whatever. That's a very valid choice. But no one else is able to do it exactly like I can, and therefore I have to do it all, seems like the dangerous flip side to this.
When my first child was born, I was doing exclusive breastfeeding. No bottle ever, because the parenting literature and expert advice I was consuming was like, any bottle ever will ruin everything. It's nipple confusion and, good luck to you if that happens. So it wasn't really clear what would happen, just that it was really, really bad. So I exclusively breastfed, and my first kid was a nightmare newborn. I mean, I've talked about that at length. Like, I had a terrible first 6 months where he was up at night more than he was asleep. But folded into this thing that I was doing, no matter what, was that I had to get up with him every time, because nursing him was the only thing that would get him to stop screaming for a little bit. And it had to be me every time. And I first created that so that he wouldn't take a bottle, even if you wanted to, if he didn't want it. So I think the more strictly you adhere to any parenting policy, the more you start to feel that really they can't be away from you because somebody else might tell them they did a good job while you're not looking. And then everything will be ruined.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's not just about gentle parenting, it's about anything.
Yeah, I think it's the same. Your influence is so strong on your kids that you can make room for other things. And you can make room for people who do it differently. And you can make room for the mother-in-law who sneaks sweets, even though you're not that kind of household. And I understand the frustration with, we're trying to do something different and other people are undermining us. But I think you have to really be careful of not undermining yourself by doing that, making it exponentially harder.
The burnout and exhaustion that will happen when it's always you all the time and has to do everything is real and not great for you, certainly, but probably not great for your kid either.
Not great for you. And the benefits of gentle parenting, I do not believe can outweigh the risks of being completely isolated.
So it's probably not surprising that in practice, if you're really trying to practice this the way 100 self-declared gentle parenting experts on the internet are telling you to do it, it's a little bit exhausting. So Jessica Winter wrote an article for The New Yorker, I'll put the link in the show notes, about she's a young parent trying to do this. So she's coming at it from like, I tried to do this. And then she says, across the parenting boards and the group texts, one can detect a certain restlessness, a fatigue is setting in about the deference to a child's every move, the strict maintenance of emotional affect, the notion that trying to keep to a schedule could be authoritarian. Sometimes the people are saying a tantrum isn't worthy of being placed upon a pedestal.
Absolutely agree. And I think that the idea that there is a path through this, I mean, my biggest reaction is, don't forget that toddlers are people. You get in fights with all the people. You aren't gentle employee. You aren't gentle wife necessarily. It just feels like you're interacting with a person, and therefore there are going to be complicated times in that relationship where one or both of you does something not great.
Right. And the gentle parenting original thing would suggest that apologizing to your kid and repairing that's very important, which I agree it is. But that also includes in it that you're going to make a mistake sometimes, that you are going to maybe raise your voice or be impatient. If it's telling you that apologizing to your kids and repairing is important, that means that the expectation that you never say anything wrong or say good job when you should have said you must be so proud of yourself, that you can let it go a little bit because that was never really the assignment.
Yeah, or a lot of bit. So after this break, I'm going to come a little harder for gentle parenting.
My favorite skincare products actually feel more like self-care, like they're so nice to put on and they smell so good that I'm actually happy when I get to that part of my day. And I swear that is how I feel about Osea's anti-aging body balm.
Amy, you are usually the lotions and potions queen on this podcast, but I have to say, hard agree.
Osea's anti-aging body balm is a liquid silk body balm that combines the lasting hydration of a lotion with the firming power of a serum, leaving skin smoother and firmer.
This body balm is clinically tested and designed to deliver visible results you can see and feel.
So we've gotten to use this product for a couple of months now, and I swear I have really noticed firmer and smoother skin, like on the back of my hands. It's like getting a mini spa treatment from head to toe.
Get a spring-worthy glow with clean, clinically tested skincare from Osea. And right now, we have a special discount just for our listeners.
Get 10% off your first order site-wide with code FRESH at OseaMalibu.com.
That's 10% off your first order with code FRESH at OSEAMalibu.com.
You know that thing where you get an amazing pair of shoes at a really great price and want to tell everyone about it? Yeah, so do we. Here at Designer Shoe Warehouse, we'll give you something to brag about, like the latest styles from brands you love, or the trends everyone's obsessing over, or shoes that make you feel like, well, you. So go ahead, show off a little. Find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. Head to your DSW store or DSW.com today. DSW, let us surprise you.
And now, gentle parenting attempts versus gentle parenting realities.
From the What Fresh Hell podcast.
Attempt.
You can choose to put your shoes on yourself, or you can choose for mom to help you.
Reality.
We're late. We are so late. Just grab whatever foot covering you can find. Just shove them in your feet while we drive. Attempt.
As you can see, I've made this detailed color-coded chart so you can see what the day holds and what we can all expect.
Reality.
I have no idea what's for dinner. Go play Roblox for an hour. I'll figure something out. Attempt.
I love how you are expressing your frustration. I see that you feel upset that the light isn't changing fast enough. That is so upsetting, and you are heard.
Reality.
Mommy is just going to turn the music up louder if you keep crying. Mommy also had a very stressful day and wishes you could understand that she cannot control traffic lights with her mind. Attempt.
You see, the Scarlet Letter functions not only as a story of a single scorned woman, but as an allegory for our collective fear of the unknown, as embodied by the metaphor of the forest.
Reality.
Thought you were going to get your homework done at flex time. What? I wanted to watch The Traitors. When is this due? Can we work on it tomorrow?
This has been Gentle Parenting Attempts versus Gentle Parenting Realities.
From the What Fresh Hell podcast. So we've talked a lot about how gentle parenting is portrayed and gentle parenting is pushed back on, kind of the social media version. But I think as we were starting to get into with the New Yorker article, to me, I see two problems with the gentle parenting as I understand it. Number one is that the world is not that gentle. So preparing a child for everything to always be understood and validated maybe comes with its own problems. And number two, I think it's gentle parenting out in the world, that there are situations where I don't want to be part of your gentle parenting.
Yes.
Period. Like, I don't actually want your kid to be kicking me in Target while you're like, I understand your emotions, which maybe is kind of the social media gag version of it. But I do think, like the airplane example, this is really not necessarily a time to learn and grow. This is a time to stop your child from running up and down the aisles out of control. There has to be someone in charge, it feels like.
So the two main problems with gentle parenting, either perceived or maybe sometimes real, is that there's undercorrection, that the kid is doing everything that they want to do, and this over-validation, which I think springs from this idea that we put a pin in before, which is that misbehavior by kids is always a physiological result of stress instead of what we like to call boundary-seeking behaviors. Sometimes kids like to kick the seat in front of them and you say no and they'll do it again because it's kind of fun to do that to see what will happen next. And that's all there is to it.
Yeah. And I mean, I am a bit authoritarian, but I do believe that a child can stop kicking the seat in front of them generally, or you figure out, listen, I had a seat kicker and I had two kids who were pretty good when I got on and said, do not kick the seat, that they wouldn't. And so seat kicker always sat next to an adult, and I would occasionally put my hand over their feet or let them put their feet in my lap, because I think you have to be solution oriented to some behavior. Like, if the behavior is communicating, I don't want to be on an airplane. Okay, I get it. I don't want to be on an airplane either, but you can't kick the person in front of you for 6 hours. I understand what your behavior is communicating, but what it's communicating isn't absolute. And so I think that there's just, as usual, a fat part of this bell curve where there are times where understanding what's motivating a behavior is going to get you to a solution. And sometimes this behavior is unacceptable in this space and place is absolutely necessary.
Going back to this New Yorker article that Jessica Winter wrote, I thought this was a good point she made too, is that some of the tenets of gentle parenting present the validated child as the only child, and the mother, because it's going to be the mother doing this in these situations usually, as the only adult present. In other words, it presumes that there is no person being annoyed by being kicked, or little sister who got hit, who is crying. Her needs and emotions are also to be considered.
Yeah, it's that this can happen in a vacuum. And that's kind of what I was saying about the child being a person, that it doesn't happen in a vacuum. Everything is not a learning opportunity. And I think that, I mean, I like the focus on gentle parenting in terms of how much yelling, how much authoritarian parenting can you take away? I think that's a very, very valid question. And for me, it's a question that was kind of important as we were doing the podcast and thinking about it for myself, that my way or the highway, because I do have probably the largest and most commanding personality in my house, that I think I did scare my kids sometimes, or they expressed fear of me. And I thought, wait, that's not really the relationship I want to have. I don't want my kids to be afraid of me. But that sometimes when I'm like, I need everybody in here now cleaning this up because you all left a mess, that their only experience of that is fear, and that I do get better results sometimes by saying, guys, you know, Dad's traveling this week. I really need more help. Can everybody please pitch in more? And then saying, this is what I was talking about. You've left this room a mess, and now I have Grandpa coming over for dinner, and please help. It actually is better to do the connection first and have the action come out of that connection than just me being a scary, yelling tyrant.
And I think that it is ages and stages. Like the gentle parenting, one of the things that they say you shouldn't do is, oh, you made mommy sad when you hit your brother, that you shouldn't say that it's about them getting in tune with their emotional state, not, I guess, raising a tiny people pleaser that it's attuned to mother's emotional state. But I think that's totally valid for 10 and 12-year-olds to know, like, okay, when my other parent is out of town, my mom is going to be a little more stressed. And so she's a human being, so I'm going to like load the dishwasher without being asked. I think that is emotional maturity. That is clocking what's happening for the people around you, and you are not the only person in the world, is emotional maturity. So I think it's okay to start bringing that in for kids once they hit, grade school age.
Yeah. I mean, I think Gentle parenting is like communism, Amy. The idea is kind of solid, but in practice, it gets really messed up and it gets bad for everyone. And I think that the ideas behind this are right on in terms of if you are just a complete authoritarian who just hits your kid whenever they misbehave, the only thing they're really learning is to compartmentalize lots of parts of themselves away from you so that they don't get hit. That's not ideal. But the reality of constantly being gentle, it just takes out of the equation that you're also a human being. I mean, it's not possible to be gentle all of the time. And recently, we went out to a dinner that just turned out really frustrating. It was expensive, and I thought, oh, the kids are going to love it. And then the food took forever, and two of them had friends, and they were fooling around at the table, and don't you know better than this? And you're kind of ruining this thing I thought was going to be great. And in the car on the way home, I was so frustrated. And I gave them this kind of very stern lecture that was really like, you're better than this. Don't you know better than this? And the next day I came back and I said, I'm really sorry about how I acted in the car. Although I was frustrated with your behavior, a lot of my frustration was how that meal went and how we were looking to other people. And my bad. I did not do a good job in that moment. But also, I'm a human who gets frustrated and upset and takes it out on other people in the wrong way. That's what humans do.
So I think the part of gentle parenting that we can keep is the maintaining our own equanimity even when kids get dysregulated. Yes, that's a large goal to work toward, but the kids not having any consequences is something that can be teased out. Like there's a difference there. You can take one without the other. I think the kids should have known they let you down. I think it's okay to tell them that and then be like, sorry, I was mad. But kids at your kids' age, I don't think that's a bad message to deliver necessarily.
No, I just think it's the screed that goes on for 20 minutes at a loud volume where I'm getting to the point of just like flaying the meat off of their bones. That's where I went wrong. I think the other thing that is really important and good about gentle parenting is letting kids have more of a voice. I really do believe in that, about saying, why is it so hard for you right now to get along with your brother? Why are you guys constantly fighting with each other? Do you need more time apart? Do you need more time together? How do we get on the same side of the net? How do we talk about why the mornings are every single morning we're fighting about your shoes? Let's figure out a solution to that together. Do you want to wake up 5 minutes earlier? Maybe we put your shoes by the front door. Like, involving kids in problem solving, I think, is a great idea.
Because, I'm going to quote Sarah Shemkis here, she says, sometimes parents just need to get out the door without interrogating the emotional ramifications of wearing mittens.
Exactly. Sometimes it is because I said so.
Right.
I have more life experience than you. I know that your fingers don't feel cold right now, but I also know that it's 36 degrees out. And if you don't start with mittens, it's going to be too late to warm your hands up. And I don't want to deal with it. So I don't know that I want to have a history of the yarn making industry in order to get your mittens. I just shove them on you. I know better. And I do know better.
Right. And then there's things like you said, you talk about it at a calmer time. You don't talk about why is it always like this in the moment. You talk about it at dinner, or you keep a set of mittens in the car because you know she's going to say, I don't want to put the mittens on. But then when she gets outside and sees it's cold, she might change her mind. Like, there are ways around this stuff that aren't you railing at your kid at 8 a.m. for sure. But it is an impossible situation to set yourself up for, that you will never feel frustrated. And that if you feel it, let alone express it, that you need to do some major reset because you're a bad, gentle parent. No wonder parents who are really trying to attend to this philosophy are feeling a lot of burnout.
Yeah, and I think that what we've solved is that the social media parody version of gentle parenting on one side, which is like, what's making you kick the seat in front of you? And the authoritarian, like, I punch you until you do what I say version of parenting is on the other side of that spectrum. That there really is a lot in the middle of those two things. Things can be a little bit more equitable, a little bit more understanding, but don't veer into overindulgence.
Gentle parenting's a mindset. That's what Sarah Ockwell Smith said. So the good news is you get to decide for yourself what's involved in that mindset, which is probably very worthwhile.
I agree. And I think this was a useful conversation. I got some stuff out of it. And, it wouldn't hurt me to be a little bit more gentle sometimes.
Are you following us on YouTube? If you go to YouTube and you just search What Fresh Hell Podcast, you can watch this episode. You can watch any episodes. If you like kind of watching the show while you're making dinner, and there's another way to enjoy our show.
YouTube, What Fresh Hell Podcast. Just search it up on YouTube and you will find us there.
And don't forget to subscribe while you're there.
Thanks so much for listening. We'll talk to you next time.
Tires matter. They're the only part of your vehicle that touches the road. Tread confidently with new tires from Tire Rack. Whether you're looking for expert recommendations or know exactly what you want, Tire Rack makes it easy. Fast, free shipping, free road hazard protection, and convenient installation options. Go to TireRack.com to see tire test results, tire ratings, and consumer reviews, and be sure to check out all the special offers. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.